It's time for another edition of Coach's Corner with women's basketball coach Matilda Mossman.
Hello and welcome to Coach's Corner with head coach Matilda Mossman, University of Tulsa women's basketball, and the season is in the books. But boy, what a nice run for your team in the conference tournament. What a terrific first game win, and then just barely got nipped at the buzzer on the second game.
Well, I think it's similar to last year. We go in and win the first game and play really well. And I think sometimes your mindset's different when you start tournaments. During the season, even though you're telling guys, don't worry about the last game, look to the next, look to the next. Well, still, we had several losses in a row, and I think that weighs on people's minds. But then when you get to conference tournament time, everybody understands. Everybody's record is 0-0, and now you just go out and play that team in that moment. And I think the good thing for us is that we had beaten Houston already during the season, and we had also beaten Cincinnati. So I think that gave our guys a certain confidence going into that game as well.
Yeah, but it's a 5-12 game. You're clearly the underdog in this one, 10-20. They're 20-10, and they're figuring maybe to go on. But obviously, they know that Tulsa had won the game. So what was the approach going in, and then how did your team play so spectacularly?
Well, it goes back to making shots. That game against Houston, it was an unbelievable offensive display. We didn't have a single quarter where we shot less than 50%. We had 28 assists in the game, which tied a school record. Crystal Polk has a career high and has a double-double with points and rebounds. Erica Wakefield has a double-double with points and assists. So it's just so many people got in on the scoring. We had 5 people in double figures, 4 of the starters, and then Kendra and Elliott off the bench was in double figures. And we just were playing really freely offensively, and guys were hitting shots. And when you hit shots, the game is easy. Yeah,
and you shared the ball really well. Ahead by a pretty big margin at the end of one quarter. Houston outscored you in the second, so you're ahead by 10 at halftime, and that doesn't mean automatic W, so you had to come out and play in the second half.
Right. Well, at halftime we talked about having a 10-point lead, and you just have to just play even. Just play even at this point. You don't have to worry about matching. Going on a run, just play even. And then that was the message going into the fourth quarter as well. Just, we have the lead, just play even. And I thought our guys really scrapped, and we were much better defensively against Houston in this game than we were the first time we played them.
Yeah, and you mentioned, of course, Crystal Polk, 28 points, 12 rebounds. She played out of her mind. She was just terrific. Shug Dixon had 22. You had several players in double figures, so all good.
Yeah, I think that was the difference, too. When you can get post scoring and perimeter scoring, it makes you that much more difficult to guard. You go to the Cincinnati game the next night. Well, Crystal doesn't have the big scoring. I think Kendra and Elliott still gets double figures, but we didn't have the inside-outside scoring that we did in that Houston game. 57%
from the field, 98-72 victory. I mean, clearly your best 40 minutes of the year?
Probably so, as far as, this time we held Houston below their scoring average. They were averaging 74 or 75 points a game. First time we played them, even though we won, we allowed them to score 77. This time we hold them to 72. And, I think the 92 points was our second best outing of the year offensively. And what a good time for that to happen.
Absolutely. So then you get the 4 seed, Cincinnati, and again, as you mentioned, a team that you had defeated, and it was really a terrific game. I mean, it was just back and forth through the whole game. Both teams wanted it.
It really was. And, at halftime we felt good because in the second meeting with Cincinnati, where they basically dominated us, they dominated us on the boards. They had like 14 or 15 offensive rebounds. They dominated us in transition. We couldn't get back to stop their transition. So those were things that we really wanted to focus on, and I thought we really did a great job of that in the first half. We limited them to 1 offensive rebound in the first half. They didn't get a lot of transition points against us, but as the game wore on and they continued to push, and they've got some really talented physical post players, and they started really attacking us inside and getting themselves the free throw line. I mean, we scored with them. They out-rebounded us by a little bit, but field goal-wise, we were good. We had more threes than them. It came down to them getting 10 points at the free throw line and us getting 4. And they honestly did not pick up their first foul in the game until late in the third quarter. Wow. They had no fouls until that time. But that's us, that's us not attacking and drawing fouls and trying to get to the free throw line.
And then, as you mentioned, of course, you had the 4-point halftime lead. It's 4 going into the fourth quarter, so it's obviously anybody's game. And then just an ending that you just didn't, it was a 50-50 game, an ending that was just unfortunate. I guess you called it a turnover since it was a held ball, but you had the ball with about 14 seconds to go in the forecourt, and unfortunately, the inbounds pass got bollocksed up, right. And you end up with a held ball, and they get it.
Right. Yeah, that was crucial because we had the lead at that point, and we knew they were going to foul, and all we had to do was get an inbounds pass and just hold it, and
wait to be fouled.
Wait to be fouled. Yeah, and instead we mishandled it. Wasn't an easy pass to get anyway, and then they tie it up, and they go down, and their best playmaker, Anna Owens, goes in and scores that layup. So now there's 4 seconds left, and so then we advance the ball, and now we have an opportunity. And Erica, we get a good drive by Erica, and she takes a shot that she's made 100 times in her career, and it just wasn't meant to be. That shot just doesn't go down. And we end up losing the game.
And she was just beside herself, obviously. Erica's just been such a great player for you. What a frustrating way for her career to end on a shot that she makes 99 times out of 100. It doesn't go in, and we saw her just lay down on her back in frustration.
Yeah, I think frustration and also a sense of, oh my gosh, what more could I have done?
You're right.
And but I think there's a piece with her in terms of what she accomplished in her 4 years at Tulsa, and I think she's very prepared to go into her career and finish school and with a nursing major and move on to the next phase of her life.
Absolutely, 1,000-point scorer, top 5 in assists all time at TU, so a fabulous career for Erica Wakefield. But when you think about the 80 minutes that you played in Uncasville, you got to feel pretty positive about what your team did.
Yeah, I think that's the big deal. You go through some losses like we did during the season, and it would have been real easy for us as a 12 seed to go into that tournament and just not compete and just not try. But that's not what happened. Our kids banded together and they played hard and they competed for 80 minutes. Like you mentioned, it's just, and as a coach, you have to feel good about that and not look at the season as a whole, but look more at, did your kids continue to battle? Did your kids continue to believe in the process? And did your kids continue to play hard? And they did. So, to me, that's a win.
Yeah, and you had a young team this year. You have 2 seniors, and we mentioned Eric, of course. But you have 2 seniors. You got a lot of folks coming back, and of course, a good recruiting class, right?
Right, and we're still working on a couple of recruits, but the future is still bright. Even though losing Erica is going to be huge because not only was she one of our top scorers, she was top in assists, but more than that, she was our glue on our team. And when the ball was in her hands, you felt comfortable. And so now we're going to have to hand those reins to somebody else, and somebody else is going to have to make our team feel comfortable.
And of course, the off season, obviously, it's not like the kids don't work. Obviously, you get back into the academics and that sort of thing. Right. What do you expect out of your team in the off season as far as improving their games?
Well, I think one of the things we talked about in the press conference after the Cincinnati game, that loss should leave a hunger in everybody going into the postseason. Going into spring, going into summer. There should be a certain hunger there that makes you want to work harder. And frankly, we had some kids that didn't work very hard last summer, or didn't work as hard as maybe they should have. And hopefully they see that now, and there's a hunger for them to continue to improve.
Coach, congratulations on a great finish, and look forward to next year.
All right, thank you.
Head coach Matilda Mossman, and that is Coach's Corner.